presentation of the ATSSB All-State Flute Music with Mrs. Kathy Daniel. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, and good morning. It's exciting to see so many students here, and of course teachers. Well, in our short little bit of time together, I'm going to try to help you get through the two All-State Etudes for this next year. The first one is a color. Well, before I get started, let me just say that we need to be out of here in time to let the next person get started. So if you have questions, I will be available when the clinic is over for you to come and ask me questions outside the door. And also, on the back side of your handout, you can find a link to my bio, and also the very last thing, I have put my email. So if you get home and then you have some questions, you can email me. All right, so the first one is the color etude, and if you don't have the music, hopefully you can see a little bit of that. It's kind of small up there. We do stop, this etude does stop right there on that D. Starts at the beginning and goes right there to that D. And the first thing I would do before any practice session is work a little bit with my breath builder. So I was going to do that actually while you all were coming in today. If you don't have a breath builder, I highly recommend them. It's just a cylinder tube with a little ping pong ball inside. And I did not get to warm up much this morning because there were complaints in the hotel. So here I am. So maybe the afternoon people will be a little bit more warmed up. When the guy came to my door and said, "Would you please stop?" I said, "You realize this is a big music convention going on?" And they said, "Well, maybe so, but I needed to stop." So I did. I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry," because you know, practicing, some of the things that we do when we practice really can bother people. But it can also be very helpful for us to play. So one of the things I was attempting to do was do some harmonics. And what I would do with both of these etudes is warm up on the harmonics. That's finger a low note. I like to use low C a lot, and then go up the harmonic series. And so that would be low C, your fundamental, the octave above it, so some of those things might bother someone that's in the hotel room next to you. But they really are good for helping you get some lip flexibility. And then if you'll notice, both of these etudes have a lot of slurs going up, or not even slurs, maybe they are, there's a tongue happening in there, but you still have to manage that, that interval. This first one starts out C to A. So I would, maybe even work on that with my harmonics between the second octave C and the third octave C, just working on that when I'm warming up. Then go back and test some of these. In the first measure, that's the A to the F that you see. Some of them are even more than that. Let's see, there's an octave of high A's in the second line. On down the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one, D to F. So that's a grace note that goes up there. In the second etude, which is the Fa, hopefully you can see some of that, you have those octave jumps in the first line. You have some skips in this piece too. Notice the third line, you go, third measure, you go from an F sharp so your mouth, your lips actually have to handle going from that F sharp all the way up to the C. So this is happening throughout your music. I bring this up because it's there, but I also, when I am out and about, I observe some of the different things that I see happening. Some students that I'll give lessons to that maybe I don't teach very frequently. And across the board, I am seeing struggles going from low to high on the flute. Maybe happening on all instruments, but this is just one of those things that I see. Historically, I see a lot of breathing problems, and I think the teaching is getting better on that. I know I've been preaching it really my entire career, but that is greatly improving, particularly the last couple of years. Let me get a little water here. Can you all hear me? Good. They have a microphone here, but when you're dealing with a flute, back and forth with a microphone, it's not that great. All right, so warm up on the etudes and see if it can help you with some of these large skips. Even if there's an arpeggio involved in the process of getting up to the high note, I will still notice that the player is set for the low note. So you'll notice that if the upper note is flat or, just barely there. So really these harmonics will help. Next on my handout again is breathing exercises. I go through a very extensive process in teaching breathing with my own student. And then the last step would actually be sitting down and playing, because that is the most difficult thing to do with the flute when you're trying to breathe properly. But for us, for playing etudes and for, like, if I play a recital, that next to the last step is actually standing in front of a stand and still breathing. We get focused in our music and we forget everything that we're supposed to be doing with the breathing. So really try to think about your breathing, and by all means, you kids that are participating in these competitions, when you are in your audition, stand up. Practice standing, unless you have a foot problem or something like that, then sit down. Practice with a full range of dynamics, but start with forte. Start with forte because it will develop your sound. It will teach you what it feels like to play soft. And then when you do add in your softs will be a better tone quality. We don't learn how to play loudly by playing softly. We learn how to play softly by knowing how to play loud. And that's just the way it is on the flute. It helps us get the air in there that we need. So if I am going from my breath builder, this kind of blowing, by the way, this takes a lot of air to get the ping pong ball up to the top. So if I'm going to blow like that, transfer that into the flute, it's going to translate into a very loud sound. All right, it's going to also be a bit raucous and sharp. Yeah, you'll get control of that, and you must get control of that to make the pitches here work. But go start from there. Let me play both of these for you while we have a chance. All right, so this is your